Welcome to the channel! It's in the new year, it's 2021. Oh, how things have changed. Well, not really, we're locked down still. We're sort of in lockdown, we can get into the workshop, thankfully, because we can't work from home. I can't take one of these home. And what we're doing, John was just asking me, what is a Hanway? Yeah, as you can see on the side, a Hanway 125. What is this he's doing in the workshop? Well, this is actually a little project that was done through the DGR, so the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. And this is what we've got some kids who wouldn't normally get the opportunity to work on bikes and stuff like that. We had them coming in and we were working with them on this bike. Obviously I think we're a bit stuck now because we're locked down, so they won't be coming in, which is a shame. But we'll show you what we're doing with this. The idea of the project then is to give the opportunity to kids that wouldn't get an opportunity to work on bikes. We do some work with them, we get a cheap bike, and then we modify it. They modify it with us, and then they're allowed to put their own sort of artistic license on it. So a lot of the paintwork, etc., will all be down to them, for them to do. And what we wanted to do was do a sort of a scrambler style thing. So although this is not massively capable off-road, the end sort of state will be to do an off-road challenge with them. So we want to take it to a little off-road riding area where they're going to ride this bike out, which we'll have done all the modifications on, and they get to run it out and a little bit of a challenge. So we'll do some rider training with them and then get them out on it, which I think is really cool. And so far the feedback has been really positive from the people that came down and did it with us. So that's a good thing, isn't it? So I'll show you what we particularly did here. So this was picked up by the charity and it's called the Key Riders. Key Riders, spelled Q-U-A-Y, as in Paul Key. John.
Oh, okay.
That's how you spell Paul Key. K-E-Y.
I'm sure it's key.
So, yeah. Is it not key? So learn every day to school day. Key Riders they're called. So they bought this bike, I believe it was like 900 quid. But the problem was it wasn't working. Actually when we went through we found out it was actually a faulty ignition. So we put another ignition in there now. Oh! As it squirts a little bit of fuel out there. So ignition was the issue. So we did that. Now, we wanted to run this off-road, so I've been talking to the lads who have been working on this and talking to them about what disadvantage this has. Unfortunately, the rear shocks, pretty diabolical, spring on a stick. They're not that great and not that much clearance. We're actually going to put a very slightly longer shock on there with a piggyback and adjustable shock, so we can do something like that, and we'll gain about 2 inches of travel on the back end. That inevitably affects the chain, because that will then come into contact with the swing arm because the angle will change. However, we're going to put a bigger sprocket on the back as well, which will gain us more space. So we're going to put a bigger sprocket on the back, which means, John?
Bigger sprocket.
Yes, it does. Bigger sprocket. What that means is it'll accelerate quicker, as you said.
Just about to say,
yeah. Subliminally. You were just laughing at
it's going to wheelie.
So it'll accelerate quicker. That's what we want it to do off-road. So smaller sprocket on the rear, longer top end, so it goes quicker but it's slower to get there. Bigger on the back, accelerates quicker, and that's what we want from riding off-road. One of the things I've actually laid it out here, which was a bit of a, although this is called a scrambler, you know, the Chinese loosely, it had a underslung exhaust like that. Pa, pa, pa.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
So as you might imagine, that is the lowest thing on the bike. The first thing that's going to come into contact with anything underneath would have been the pipe, and it would have just muller it. So, anybody who's got one of these Hanways and want to do a high-rise pipe, as with all these things, I took a bit of a punt, as I often do, for $29.99, because all these bikes are the same. These 125, it's the same engine, same setup. So this is for a Sinis. This is another Chinese.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
Sinis. Well, a Sinis Apache. Ooh, it's an Apache pipe. It's going to be good. Apache. Remember the Shadows? Apache. Remember that song?
Before my time. Well before my time.
Yeah. Apache, they did a song called
Yeah.
Hank Marvin and all that. The Shadows. So there we are, the Apache pipe. Actually, wasn't it a little bit low that. So we can put the Apache pipe, high-rise pipe, with an end can on. Beautiful, works a treat. But as you'll find with a lot of these things, just a little bit of a pump with that. But most of these Chinese bikes, it's exactly the same engine. Same engines. It's like the Mutts, like the Herald, Bullet, Hanway. Well, all the ones are Harley Davidson. They're all these Chinese. Yes!
You had to get that
in. These Chinese bikes, so they're made. They're pretty much the same thing. So if you've got something that you spot that you're like, well, I'd like one of those sort of pipes, but they haven't got it for my model of bike. 10 a penny, it's probably going to fit because they're exactly the same thing. As long as you're doing a 125, that was obviously for a 125 4-stroke Apache, and this is a 125 4-stroke Hanway. So yeah, they're exactly the same thing. You can see here we cut off the rear pillion because they're not going to be able to be used to carry a rear pillion because it's going to be used off-road. The front forks are actually surprisingly good, and when I opened them up, the oil in them was absolutely minters, so didn't really need to bother with that. Okay, yeah, you know, it's not a motocross front end, and it's not going to be, but it, you know, they're going to be on fields and a few little logs. It's not like they're going to be launching them off big jumps. That's not the idea behind the project. Other little mods we're going to do is we are going to put a set of knobblies on it. Knobbly ties, that'll make a world of difference anyway. What have I got on the list? Exhaust. And that is just about it, to be fair. That's all we're doing with them, and we're just working with them one evening a week doing that. And there's the tank over here. Go look at this one. Really, that's the tank. We're going to take the graphics off, and then we're going to leave it down to the guys to then do their own
design
paintwork or whatever on it. And I think, because there's a couple of them, I'm just going to split it down the centre and allow them to do a bit of an odd section thing. So I think it's a really good project. I think it's well worth doing. It'll hopefully come out quite well, and I'll keep you updated on how it went and how we're going to roll with it potentially in the future, because if this really works, then we'll do some more of it as well. And Billy's just arrived. It's all right, I took the tree down, by the way.
Different prices have gone up, mate.
Wow.
£48 a cup.
This is our Christmas tree me and Jippo. We dug out, well, I say we dug out, Ewan did this, didn't he? We did a very good job with some spanners on it. And that was a spark plug on the top. But that was our Christmas tree. Peroni. A bit of advertising for a Peroni there, do you know what I mean? And Doomba. But I had to take it down. It's not Christmas anymore, is it, lads? It's not Christmas. So unfortunately it has to come down. I'll turn the lights off. We don't know what we'll say then for next year. Wait, it's not. It's a belt, isn't it? So there we go. Intercut with this, there's going to be a few little bits of Billy and Martin doing a little bit of work on there. You'll have seen the sparking up the bike and a little faux pas that we had at some point. But I'm sure you'll appreciate that. Things don't always go very smoothly in the workshop. But if you like that, please like and subscribe, and we'll do some more soon.